Good evening, friends. Welcome back. Another Word of Gord, Friday evening, about 9:35 local time here in central Canada. Now, interesting story for you, my friends. We're going to be talking about Tsunami retrievals. And I had already done another one this afternoon around 4 o'clock. And had recorded it and was uploading it when I lost my internet connection, and the whole darn thing. Most annoying. And I had especially done this talk right after doing a meditation and a projection and some retrieval work. So it was very fresh in my mind, and I really wanted you all to feel that. And it was not to be. So a number of things have happened in the interim, and 5 hours later I am able to get back to it. So retrieval work, doing meditations, practicing it, projecting, the whole 9 yards. Now I was contacted, well, not specifically contacted, but I heard through a couple of emails about some people in Japan planning a group retrieval. That is 15, 20, maybe more people all getting together and doing a consciousness projection at the same time in local time, Japan, tomorrow morning, Saturday morning. And I responded to their posts on a website that I contribute to by reminding them that they could go backwards in time if they wished, if they were concerned about people suffering for a week, psychic torture, physical torture, whatever kind of suffering, you can go backwards in time and do the retrieval, you know, half an hour or so after the disaster happened. This is quite possible when you're out of body. It sounds well crazy, but believe me, it's possible, it happens, and we do it. So this afternoon I plan to do a meditation and project and participate in this tomorrow morning's efforts today by projecting a little forward in time, which again is quite possible, and I've done it before. And of course there's no way of proving any of this. You might think, this guy's right out of his skull. Well, once you've practiced this sort of thing for a while, it's not so crazy. And you'll have to trust me on that one, because there's only one way of proving it, and that's to do it yourself. And the actual practice will convince you eventually. Now, and sharing notes with others, that will help too. So I lay back, listened to a hemisync meditation tape, and did a consciousness projection. I moved myself up into the spirit realms. People from the Monroe Institute call it Focus 27. You could call it the upper astral if you like. You can call it anything, actually. It doesn't really matter what you call it. There are many levels to spirit, and the higher you go, the more refined it becomes. So I was on a fairly high level. It's a level where you can channel energy from the formless energy planes, what we call the formless energy planes. That is where there is no landscape, no people, no buildings, no societies. It's an entire plane constructed of energy, great waves of energy going back and forth. Now, you can channel a very high vibration light energy from there and bring it down to the lower levels of the spirit planes and also the physical plane. And by doing so, you facilitate the erasing of terror, grief, anxiety, all that sort of negative emotion that clouds a disaster area such as the one in Japan and can hamper the work of those trying to do retrievals. And this goes on in every disaster area and has done for as long as I've known about it. And it also goes on in war zones where over an extended period, 5, 10, 15, 20 years, places like Palestine and Sudan, Somalia, uh, you can channel light into these areas and it provides a certain level of relief, and it provides a sort of energetic escape hatch for those who wish to move out of the anger and hatred of ethnic rivalries and warlike behavior, because they often need help to do that sort of thing. And by giving them an energetic channel of light, by channeling it down to the level on which they live and on which they may have just died, you can facilitate that. So, part of me did that, helped channel with others light energy onto the physical level of Japan and onto the etheric astral level too. So that's a sort of supportive role, and as I say, one aspect of me did that, and another aspect of me participated in the actual retrieval work. Now, again, to talk of splitting up into aspects will seem quite strange to those of you who are new at this. And I apologize, but we're having to make progress by leaps and bounds here. It took me many years to understand that concept and put it into practice. But basically what happens is when you're out of body, through a process of refining your technique and letting go of your attachment, you can split up into 2 or 3 or 4 aspects of yourself, all of whom can operate independently, like 4 separate spirits, even though they're not really separate, but they are independent. So, this second aspect of Gordon went down, as did others, into the submerged levels, ruins underwater, ruins that had been swept out to sea, and ruins that had human souls inside dead bodies, trapped there. Trapped be out of terror, trapped out of sudden transition, a transition that happened so quickly the soul itself did not know what had happened and was too, well, terrified, overwhelmed to do anything. And in earthquake-type disasters, this is what often happens. So one goes in under the water. It's very dark down there, muddy, dark, just like being in a submersible with a giant spotlight in front of you. You project a light, you use your spirit, your spirit mind to do this. That also takes practice. And when you get down to the ruins, wherever they are, it takes a little while to find them, but you sort of have a hunch where it might be. It's usually somewhere down. You use that light and telepathic messaging to sort of awaken the sleeping, dormant souls that are down there. And when you get their attention, you bring them up. And as you're bringing them up, you execute an intention, either while you're still in the water or when you get out of it. You just decide that. To move levels, and you move levels up to one of the lower astrals where a camp has been set up, a small village, a small town, and it's usually in a style, in an architectural style that is fits the comfort level of those who you are retrieving. So these will look like little Japanese villages or Japanese towns. And you will take the people there and you will let them off. and people will receive them and take them into this reception area and care for them right away. And you and the others that are doing the retrieval work will go back to where you were and do the same process again. You do it over and over until you've, I wouldn't say exhausted yourself, but certainly there's a level where you feel like you've done enough and you hand over the torch, as it were, to someone else. And I participated in this today, and I'm telling you this to give you something of an insight. And some of you who may have heard of this activity and are thinking of trying it, I would encourage you to give it a go. Meditate, project, and try it out. And if you feel overwhelmed, come back. And for those of you who feel you might have been doing this at night while asleep, maybe even for years, I would suggest that if you have little fragmentary dream memories of helping people on a journey, taking someone on a car ride, taking someone in any kind of a vehicle from where you find them to somewhere else, that is generally, and this is we've found over years of consulting and counseling people, that is generally a brain interpretation of a retrieval. The brain will take that energetic information and turn it into something it understands. And that something is usually a car, or a bus, or a cart, or a horse, or some traditional method of transportation. And I can assure you I've counseled people on and off for years that have told me dreams of this nature. So I can personally vouch for the commonality of this. So if you're having those kind of dreams, or have been having them and been wondering about them, I would say, yes, that is actually what you're doing while you're asleep. It may not be a disaster. You may just be going out looking for any souls that may have passed in the last few days through fires, car accidents, suicides, any number of things. But I would certainly encourage you not to dismiss that as a fantasy or a dream. Follow it in your meditations, and it will lead you slowly as you will unravel the threads of the maze to what you've actually been doing. Now, I hope this has been something of an encouragement to you. And those of you who feel like you might be on the edge of doing something like this, and for those of you who feel it's a little too much, then certainly praying and meditating and sending light to the afflicted areas does much more good than you would perhaps even hope in your wildest dreams. Believe me, it does. So please continue to meditate. Please continue to pray. Please continue to send light and love. Just lie back and imagine that light going to the affected area in Japan. Believe me, the cumulative effect is quite wonderful. It will help everyone involved, both the victims and the retrievers and the workers at the site. God bless them for risking their lives. I'm not risking anything. I'm just meditating. So all praise to those who would risk their lives to help their fellow countrymen. And with that, let us hope we can upload this one successfully. I wish you all love, peace, brotherhood. We're all in this together, don't you know?